former manager of the Orioles, Rangers, Diamondbacks, and the New York Yankees. Buck Showalter, how you been, Buck?
Richard, how we looking?
I'm doing great.
Huh?
Better for talking to you.
I thought about you the other day. Remember sitting at Yankee Stadium after a game's over, a post-game show, and it's about 20 degrees?
Oh, yeah.
You really get to know somebody, don't you?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And also going through security in Arizona, trying to get to New York and back and forth.
I couldn't believe you tried to get through security of that stuff in your suitcase.
I know. Well, also it was 2001, and people were just on their last nerve. It was quite a time, that 2001 World Series we covered together for ESPN. What's your memory of managing that All-Star game in '95? That must have been
hot.
Yeah, I'm sure it was hot, but it was also coming off the strike, and it was kind of the biggest first national watched baseball game post-strike, Buck. That must have been something, that All-Star game.
Yeah. It's funny, Richard. The playoffs against Seattle that year with us was, I remember a lot of people talking about how it kind of rekindled their love for baseball after the strike, and I hope people have a long memory of how bad that strike was for our game when they start having some talk about labor problems, because it's kind of like war. Nobody wins. And I remember we played a 3 or 4 game set against the Rangers that week. I was here for 7. I was in Texas for 7 days. I remember going over Six Flags over Texas doing an interview. It was so hot. And I had 3 first basemen. I remember Frank Thomas walking by me in the 3rd inning going, "I'm done. My plane's leaving." I go, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, I'm done." I said, "Okay." And then here comes, I said, luckily I had Mo Vaughn. I said, "Mo, first base." "Yep." 3 innings later, he walks by, he goes, "I'm out." I went, "Excuse me?" "Excuse me?"
Guys were taking themselves out.
I had Tino Martinez to play there, and I can remember every pitch. We had to, Steve Oniferis, we had to pitch everybody. He gave it up. God bless him. I tell you, the other thing I remember about Randy Johnson had just hit Jim Leyritz in the neck with a fastball. We had a big brouhaha, and I'm on the stage announcing him as a starting pitcher. That was uncomfortable.
What was okay? Walk me through that one more time, Buck.
Not that I remember anything. Pardon?
Walk me through that one more time. What was?
All right, we just played the Mariners, and
right.
He had neckballed Leyritz, which a lot of people seem to try to do, and
right.
Yeah, we had a pretty good skirmish, and then 2 or 3 days later, you're sitting there on stage with him trying to act like he's the. I had Randy later, and obviously got to know him, but the competitive part of you want to know part of being on that stage with him, but you did what you had to do. He and Nomo put on quite a show.
Oh, those were the starting pitchers that night, huh? Him and Hideo Nomo.
Not that I remember any of that.
And of course, Buck. No, come on now. Of course, it was a big night, absolutely big night. What did you think of last night's game, Buck? Did you?
You're assuming I watched it, okay?
Of course.
No, I did.
I know.
I watched most of it. I love that part of it. It's a different game. Pitching always is better than hitting. When hitters are at the top of their game and pitching's at the top of their game, pitching's going to win, especially with the approach that hitters have today to hitting. Not saying it's wrong or right. Listen to Smoltz. John Smoltz is a really good analyst. Gosh, he does a good job.
I agree.
And there's some of them, quite frankly, I can't listen to, but he's solid. And he actually, remembers how hard the game was to play and how bad he was on a given night. Sometimes these guys forget. You think they never made a mistake on the field, but it was good. So obviously, someone said 20 out of the last 23 the American League has won. Is that right?
19 of the last 23. Yeah, because
it doesn't.
One of them was a tie.
Really it really doesn't surprise people on the field. I'm gonna tell you, the leagues are different. They are. In a World Series, 7 games, 2 or 3 pitchers get hot. Any league can win. But the teams are constructed so differently in the 2 leagues that when you play interleague play and whatever, there is a difference in the 2 leagues, Rich. Trust me.
Well, and the difference is as simple as a pitcher pitches in one, hits in one, and doesn't in the other. Is it that simple? That makes a difference.
The benches in the American League are completely different than the National League. You got to have a lot of guys who can play a lot of positions and can run. And in the American League, you have so many weapons coming off the bench. And you're just picking your poison as a manager and the matchups. The National League's easier to manage in the American League in today's game. And some people might be surprised by that, but most people who manage in both leagues will tell you that.
Well, here's the thing, Buck Showalter, three-time AL Manager of the Year here on the Rich Eisen Show. It seems to me, right now that the analytics tells kids swing as hard as you possibly can. That's the way that you can get in the major leagues because we're talking about exit velocity, and that shift right there, way to beat it is just hit it over their heads and just swing as hard as you can. I mean, were you seeing that sort of shift, if you will, towards the end of your tenure or during your tenure most recently in Baltimore, Buck?
Oh, sure. It happened. There's not a whole lot new going on here, but it's not the players' fault, Rich. Don't be mad at the players. They're going to chase where the dollar falls. And when guys are getting big arbitration awards and raises for striking out 180 times a year and hitting 25 home runs, it's not their fault. It's being embraced. So it's not the players' fault. This is the way that they know that they're deemed as being successful. And still the teams that defend and pitch are the ones that are playing at the end. And you look at all the good defense. That's what people miss about the Red Sox last year, how great they were defensively. The Yankees are good again this year. Dodgers are great defensively. And it's just so much more premium on the balls that stay in the ballpark. You got to catch them. But, it comes into play. I mean, I'd go 2 or 3 weeks without putting a sign on last year. We didn't have a lot of base runners, I can tell you that. But, the hit and run, I mean, how many people can you trust to put the ball in play? How many people can you trust to steal a base? Those skills aren't embraced as much anymore. And
why?
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I've got personal feelings about it, but, it's because they're chasing the dollar. That's where the dollar is, Rich. That's the way, really, business runs in general.
But why is it, even Verlander, who said that the balls were juiced and purposefully juiced, willfully juiced.
Someone's not sitting in a mad scientist room saying, hey, let's do this, and nobody will find out. Nobody can keep a secret in baseball. Are you kidding? Everybody knows everybody's science and what they're using. So it's just, that's not true. But, yeah, the balls are being made better. Cars are being made better. Medicine's being made better. Clothes are being made better. Yeah, it is.
But even the reason why I guess I brought that up was even Verlander said he thought that at some point, and Smoltz said it when he was on this show yesterday, Buck Showalter, that at some point the pendulum will swing back and there will be a premium placed on hitting the ball the other way, on making contact, on the stuff that you just said that causes you not to even put on a sign because not enough people can be trusted to put balls into play. How does that happen? You knowing the machinations of a front office and what they put the premium on and dollar signs for. How does that happen, Buck?
Well, they're going to put the premium on what allows you to win games. That's not what GMs are judged on. And the entertainment value is another part of it. As long as the TV contracts are there and they're embracing Major League Baseball, they're going to continue down a path. But when, I don't want to come to a time where everybody's watching the game at home and nobody's at the ballpark. We've made it so easy for people to stay at home and watch on TV. We really have. I mean, you set your recorder, you record it, you walk out of the room, you come back, you go on, wait a minute, or do I want to get in a car and drive down, find a place to park? It's tough. So it'll continue down this path. I hear everybody talking about, it'll come back around. I'm not so sure it will. A lot of it because of leadership in the front offices are embracing this because it kind of fits their skill set a lot more. So, until some of the front offices or some of the leadership groups, the ownership and whatever, decide that, something else is in vogue, so to speak, or there's a better way to do it, and then there'll be some copycats. But I don't see it close by. I got some of the best, most quality baseball people I've ever known are sitting at home without jobs. That's kind of sad. But and I do think they're making more mistakes on player evaluation than any time I can ever remember because there's not a lot of front offices that can evaluate the sixth tool. So it'll be interesting to watch.
How would you fix it?
Well, you need to embrace all parts of it, Rich. You've got to have. I mean, we were doing analytics back in the 80s and 90s. This isn't something new. They just got a lot more bats and a lot better ways to bring up the numbers and the tendencies. But you've got to embrace the people on the boots on the ground. You've got to embrace the analytic and the people that are the best at it. Boston, New York come to mind because I know how strongly they are in both areas. They make good evaluations on makeup because it's so important playing in Boston and New York to have people with certain makeup that can survive there. So when you embrace all departments and not put one above the other one, and you bring in all parts of information, those are the teams that really make good player decisions.
Buck Showalter here on the Rich Eisen Show. Yeah, what you okay over there, Buck? Everything good?
Yeah, I had too much coffee this morning.
The team you'd put your marker on to win this year's World Series right now, as we're getting set for the second part of the season, would be.
Oh, jeez. I like the little engine that could mentality of a Minnesota Twin Club. They play in a great ballpark to put. Anybody hadn't been there, that's one of the best parks in baseball. They do a great job there. It's typical Minnesota. I love the Yankees. I think that they've done a great job of makeup, and their what-ifs are now coming from their minor league system as opposed to having to go take somebody else. They always have the where to go get somebody that they need, and they're able to withstand injuries. But, you look at the depth, because with the 10-day DL, there's so many guys on the DL nowadays. But I like the way that the Yankees have put together their club. There's a great mentality around them, as is Minnesota. One of the great signings of the offseason was Nelson Cruz there in Minnesota. Putting him and John Scope together was great.
Would you push the button, pull the trigger on Madison Bumgarner if you're the Yankees, if something like that is available? And it would cost you, obviously, but you're planning for October right now. If you're the Yankees, would you pull the trigger on something like that?
Of course, if he was available. I don't know. You don't know what the asking price is.
Right.
I mean, would you trade Gleyber Torres 4 years ago for him? No, you wouldn't. Is there someone sitting there like that? They just signed one of the best Latin American free agent signs, a 16, 17-year-old kid, supposedly ever. And would you give him up for him? Those are the questions that are being asked right now, because believe me, the Giants started asking for Joe Schmo.
But they're not.
Whatever happened to Joe Schmo?
By the way, I had his baseball card about 15 times. Joe Schmo, good old Joe Schmo. You got a good?
I found some little cards the other day, Rich.
What? Before I let you go, Buck, give me a good Deion story. You got a good one?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Inside the park home run. Hey, look that up sometime. You're talking about people say, that's one of my top 3 most exciting moments ever. I'm coaching third base in New York. He and Bo Jackson are jawing back and forth. Bo's getting on him about, he's playing center field for Kansas City. Deion's playing center field for us. And they're jawing back and forth before the series starts. Deion can't tackle. He can outrun Bo, back and forth. It's getting pretty ugly, if you remember. So the game starts out. Bo hits home run his first 2 at-bats. Yeah, just bombs. Makes a great catch. And I could tell Deion's kind of down. I'd had him in Albany a couple years before in Double-A. And we'd gotten pretty close. In fact, he's still – anyway, I'll shorten it up. So he goes –
No, go for it. Go for it.
He's in the dugout. And I go, what's wrong, man? I said, come on, a lot of game left. Let's go. And anyway, he hits the ball in the right center field. Pull it up sometime. It's so exciting.
We just showed it. We'll show it again as you tell the story. Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Man, you're good.
No, my crew's good.
Anyway.
My crew's good.
So, right center field, he comes around second. He's got the Jerry curls working, everything. Now, Bo dives his ball, separates his shoulders. I think it's out the rest of the season. Nobody knows that part of it. Now, he's starting to shut it down around second, put the chicken flap down, and coast in the third. Nobody could run a triple out like him. And we haven't scored a run in a month with that team. And he comes around third, and I start pumping him to get him going. He's got this look on his face like, oh, my God, this crazy guy's going to send me. So here we go. We're coming. McFarland, I think, is the catcher. There's a relay coming from, might have been Biancalana, I'm not sure. He's out by about 2 steps, whatever, but they short hop the catcher. He blocks the ball. Derwood Merrill's the umpire from Hooks, Texas. Now Deion jumps over the catcher, comes back. It's a matter, can he get his hand on the plate before McFarland can retrieve the ball and put it on top of his hand? He's safe by a finger. I come back in the dugout after the inning. He goes by me. He goes, brother, what are you doing? I go, man, I can't let Bo show you up like that. You had your shot there, and you took it. He goes, dang, man, you're serious, aren't you? I said, yeah, I am. Deion never cussed, never.
I know.
Beautiful man. Every baseball team he played on in the minor leagues, he was the most loved guy.
I know.
I've got some good things to say about him.
He still does. I mean, his face will light up when you talk Hensley Mullins with him. When you talk Bam Bam with him, and I believe.
He took BP with us in Baltimore. Hit 3 balls out. Man, I think the guy can play tomorrow. It's ridiculous. One of the greatest athletes I ever saw. Never seen anybody run like that from home. I'm sorry, from first to second on stolen base. He'd almost wait till the ball got to home plate and outrun the ball.
He's the best.
Breathtaking speed. Okay.
By the way, Brockman, say that again. It's the 20. What anniversary is of that play?
We're a week away from the 29th anniversary, July 17th, 1990.
Oh my gosh.
Did anybody ever remember that play? Really?
Well, you did, that's for sure, and I'm sure Dion. I think that was in his 30 for 30 also. They talked about that with Bo in that one. It really is something else.
I just wish everybody could sit in the clubhouse after the game and everybody left, and he's leaned over next to me, and we're talking about the play. Priceless. And that's the stuff you miss, Rich, not the other stuff you got to put up with.
I bet.
All right, man.
Look, Buck, are you doing stuff for Yes Network? Is that what you're going to start doing?
I'm going to do a little studio work. Really good people. I really like. I know a lot of people there.
Sure.
Do some stuff starting Monday.
Well,
and see where it takes me.
I watch it all the time with my kids out here on the left coast watching Yankee baseball. I watch a ton of Yes. I look forward to seeing you on there.
Well, you better get some sleep. You're 50 now, Rich.
I know. I got to keep up with you. Thanks for the call,
right,
Buck.
God bless.
We'll chat soon.
Take care.
You got it. That's Buck Showalter here.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.